Today, we are going to talk about how to get mentally stronger. That means how to breathe free from vices. What are vices? Well, vices are behaviors that provide short-term pleasure but come with a long-term cost, like psychological, physical, and even social. So they give you a certain pleasure, but then you're going to need more in that form, that same pleasure, in order to get the same effect. Now, this line you will hear me say a lot, and of course I do this on purpose. I will actually say more lines that I will repeat over and over again. Now, first of all, I'm not claiming that I'm mentally strong. I'm simply not, but I'm getting better and better because I'm following certain principles and working very hard on it. And sure, I was a professional fighter, and I did very well, yes, and that can make you mentally strong, but that's just in fighting. There's way more fights out there, way more vices, because those vices are our fights. Now, almost nobody is free from weakness, aka vices, because that's what they are, right? A weakness to a certain thing. So, I'm preaching, but I'm still working very hard on practicing. But by doing this and working on it every single day, it has made my life so much better. And that automatically means it's also better for the people around me. Okay, so here we go. I was walking on the beach in the Dominican Republic, and a group of foreigners started laughing after a man around my age said something. I almost want to say old man. It's my age. So they called me over and they said that he wished that he looked like me. And how to do that? I go, I started laughing, of course. I say, you probably should have started sooner. But you know what? It's never too late. He can still make a big difference. He just needs to commit, has to start working out, and he's going to have to eat healthy. And the guy my age goes like, he was not going to do that. But everybody had a great laugh out of it. But then again, that whole situation made me think, you can't have it both. This is something that's going on in the world right now. We all want things, but nobody wants to work for it anymore. We all want a pill, a cheat code, pills for everything. Blood pressure, heartburn, cholesterol, sleeping, losing weight, freaking emotions, you name it. We are all very weak, and we are trying to avoid stress and conflict at all times, not realizing that the more you avoid conflict, the weaker you get every time you avoid it. It's very simple, but I'm going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about vices that you probably don't expect and that you had. I mean, I didn't know until somebody pointed it out for me, of course. You see, our society is giving us all these dumb suggestions. You can do whatever you want. Enjoy life, drink, drugs, eat whatever you want. Vape, smoke, scroll online, hours and hours. We all are being told that it's okay for us to do, but we are feeding our pleasures. And there's that word pleasure again. And we need more of that same pleasure in order to feel better. Oh, you're feeding the machine. We all want to be happy, but we're confusing happiness with pleasure. The path to happiness is like literally doing what I'm going to talk about right now. That leads to happiness. So we are feeding our pleasures, which are most of them vices and addictions. And the more you feed those, here we go again, the more you're going to need those pleasures in order to still work for them. That's how addiction works. I mean, look at the world right now. Just food. Over 32% is obese in America. 35% is just overweight, and 7% is extremely obese. That's almost 75%, and that's just the food. Are those people enjoying their life because they can eat whatever they want? No, they're not. All my friends and family members who are overweight, all of them complain that they have to lose weight. But it's so hard. Yes, it is hard. We all have our vices, right? It was very hard for me to stop drugs and alcohol. I finally figured it out, but that was when I was like 50 years old. I mean, that's weak. I was weak. I was only looking for what pleased me. That's being selfish, because everybody around me was affected by it. And why? Because they were worried. I thought that I was doing the damage just to myself. And again, that was selfish, because I was involving my family members and all my friends as well. With drinking and doing drugs, well, what does it do? It shortens your life. Same as with eating too much food, right? And especially if it's unhealthy food. So that means less time on this planet with your loved ones and less time for them to enjoy your company. Now, to me, it was realizing that I wanted to see my grandkids grow up, to be there when they had their first relationship. Hopefully, maybe even I can see my grandchildren get married. And what about the fact if they're going to have babies? Man, how cool would that be? Well, if you're addicted to crap, you shorten your life. Like I said, same as with food. And listen, I don't mind the people that I love being overweight. Really, I don't care. You know, I love you for who you are, not for what you look like. But I am worried about their health, since when people overeat, most of the time, it's not healthy stuff they eat. And that means heartburn, cholesterol, blood pressure, sugar, just to name a few, and you're going to have to take medications for that, which is never good. So stop being like me saying, I only do it to myself, I don't hurt others, because you are wrong and you are selfish. And I know this is hard to hear. I didn't like to hear it, but hearing it changed me. It made me finally flip my life around. Okay, so after fighting, I also stopped working out. I started drinking and I started using drugs. And what I would say is, I don't have the time to work out. That was my excuse as well. But at that time, I would get up at 8:30 a.m. every week, every day. So I decided to start making time. And the first thing I did was getting up at 7 a.m. Now, don't go suddenly 2.5 hours earlier than normal, because you want to build up this slowly, of course. And yeah, it's not fun in the beginning, but I needed to change my life around. So you simply suck it up. That's what you do. And you just do it. I also realized that when you do not want to work out, but still do it, I'm not only keep my body in shape, I also made myself mentally stronger, because I pulled through when I didn't want to pull through. Now, I used to speak for like 5 years in a row to like 550 kids at high school who graduated high school and who went to a university or maybe to go to do a job. And my very first question to them was this: by show of hands, how many of you woke up this morning from the alarm, hit the snooze button, 10 minutes later, hit the snooze button, and did that like 5 more times? And you won't believe it. It's crazy. 90% of the hands go up. And I would explain to them. I said, listen, that's the dumbest habit you can have. I mean, that last hour, you didn't really sleep anymore. You fell asleep, woke up, you fell asleep, woke up, you fell asleep. It's a stupid thing to do. The smart thing to do for you would be to tell yourself the day before you go to sleep, first of all, set your alarm 1 hour later, and then you tell yourself tomorrow morning, when the alarm goes, I sit up in bed immediately and I walk out. And listen, whatever you tell yourself to do, you better do it, right? And once you do that, the very first time, yeah, it's going to be hard. Maybe the second, third, fourth, fifth time, but after a week, suddenly it becomes normal. And after 2-3 weeks in, now this is the new normal, and you just broke a really bad habit. Now this, of course, you can do with everything. Right now, though, we hit our snooze buttons on everything in life. Like tomorrow morning, I get up at 7 a.m. And then when it's 7 a.m. the next morning, boom, we hit the snooze button again. You know, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Or tomorrow, I'm going to sign up for a gym. Guess what? Next day, yes, you're going to hit the snooze button. I'll do it tomorrow. Or tomorrow, I'm only having an avocado and 2 slices of toast in the morning. Yeah, and then when breakfast comes, you're going to hit the snooze button and you load up on food again. But also things like simply standing up for yourself. Like, for instance, today, that person that always says something bad to me, if he's going to say something, this time I'm going to tell him it's not okay. But then it happens, and boom, they hit the snooze button again, and they try to avoid conflict. Or anger. What about that one? Anger is a vice? Yeah, why do you think you do it? We give into vices because they always have some form of pleasure in it. And anger happens to give you more endorphins. The brain releases a dopamine reward. That's what they call it when you get angry. And why do you think you see those crowds who protest get more and more angry? Because like any other weakness and vice, every time you need more in order to get the same effect. Anger clouds the mind. It doesn't make you think straight. Right now it's November 23, and there was a protest in my old town in Westlake Village in California last week, and protesters were protesting, right? So one 65-year-old guy walked up and he told them what he thought of the protest. So one person hit him in the face with something, I don't know what it was, but he died. So a wife lost her husband, children lost their dad, a brother or sister lost their brother, parents lost a child, all because he had a different opinion. Think about that, how stupid it is. Listen, stop following politics. I did. Much happier life. You know why? Because it doesn't matter what you think or want, nothing will change. We don't know the truth anymore. Left, right, everybody's freaking lying. And since me being angry or upset about it is not going to change a bit, I just decided to avoid this meaningless clap in its entirety. Listen, we all have different opinions. And we believe that the political party that we follow will do what we want. And that's it, And we all have the same end goal as well. We all want what is good for this country. But most of us are brainwashed and we believe whatever they tell us. Did you ever hear about this? Conquer and divide. Well, that's a master plan that started by King Philip II of Macedonia. That's a guy in Greece, long time ago. And then later Julius Caesar used it as well. Actually, Napoleon Bonaparte also used it. And what it means is they set up the population to fight each other. So when they are distracted, the government can do whatever they want to do. Google it. See it for yourself. And we're the sheep. We all fall for it. And listen, we all have different opinions. So what? Replace the opinion with another opinion, and you find out that we are stupid. We're dumb. When I ask you, for instance, what is your favorite band? And you say Queen. And then I say, they're nice, but I want you to change it to the Beatles because I love the Beatles. And then you can go back and forth, and you're probably going to get a good laugh out of it. But somehow, when you change that opinion with politics or religion, get ready. Now people are going to get angry, and there's going to be violence in the streets. That's pride right there. Because pride makes you think that you are correct and the other one is not. Pride is in a lot. It's also one of the reasons you start a vice. And just remember this, every person in hell is proud. Okay, let's talk about more vices. Mindlessly scrolling on your TikTok, Instagram, Twitter platform, or whatever. That's a vice. That is feeding your pleasures. And the more you do it, the more you need to be fulfilled. The same as like any other vice. The more you do it, that's not going to work anymore. You need more to feel that fulfillment again. Now, people who build fake social media accounts and start attacking other people, yep, there we go. That's another vice. They're just very insecure and afraid that people find out who they are. And that's, if you think about it, it's kind of exciting and it has a form of pleasure in it. They would never have the cojones to do this face to face. And that's addictive. Now, when they start doing that to me, you know what I do? I will give them a prayer hand emoji and a nuts emoji. And that means I pray for them in hope they're going to find their nuts. And then hopefully they can become a real man or woman in this case, because those crazies, well, they come in every kind of form. Now, the nuts I give them because they do this maliciously and they know what they are doing is wrong. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. Otherwise, a prayer and a heart would go out. Which is what I would give to, for instance, those catfish people. Did you ever see that show? Right? And then when they find the person who's doing it, you'll take one look at the person. You're going to feel bad, right? I mean, you can tell immediately that they have nothing in their lives that makes them happy. They need to fake it. So that is also a vice because they seek attention. Same as with any other vice. The more you do it, the more you need it in order to get the same feeling. Bullies, being a bully, that's a vice. It makes them feel powerful. The problem is they're so stupid to see that the opposite of being powerful because they handpick their victims. They wouldn't want to pick a tough guy, so it's kind of sad. And again, they need more and more in order to get that same effect. Okay, big one, porno. There are people who masturbate like 15 times a day at least. They are at their work, right? They go to the restroom, do their thing, and they repeat that over the day, more and more. And the more they do it, the more they're going to need it. They're feeding their pleasures. Listen, I don't want to go into that one, but the stuff that can come from that is the worst stuff. I mean, we're talking rape, incest, and you name it. And it can come from that. I'm not saying that every person addicted to porn will become a rapist. Of course, I would never say that. But I can say that all the rapists started with porn. Because sex sells, guys. I mean, we're so stupid. Remember Jessica Simpson? Beautiful lady. Doing a commercial for Carl's Jr. She walks around in a bikini, eating a burger. The sales ran through the roof. Think about that. What does that say? That says that we are the dumbest people there are. I mean, we all know that she didn't get that body by eating burgers. So why on earth would we want to buy a burger because she eats one while wearing a bikini? Just think about that. That's how stupid and dumb and brainwashed we are. And yes, I say we because I don't exclude myself here. I have felt for things like that. Not that commercial because, I'm an in and out guy, so I would never do that. But other ones, and once you break them down, you realize you're just a moron. You're just a sheep who fell for it. Everything you can't stop doing and you need more and more in order to get the same feeling, that is a vice, a weakness. And you are a slave to it because you can't stop it. Well, you can actually, you just believe you can't stop it. Now, we also believe what others tell us as if it is true, right? Smoking cigarettes, for instance, right? You know it's really not that hard to stop smoking? Oh, yes, I hear it. All the heavy smokers are shouting now, you are wrong, you are, but I'm not wrong. Did you ever wake up in the middle of the night shaking, getting a cigarette just to stop your body from shakes? No, nothing. Alcoholics have that. You don't have that. Nobody did. You know why you believe it's hard to stop? Because people tell you it is hard to stop. Okay, boss, now you say people. What people? Okay, you want to hear something crazy? Do you know who tells you that smoking is very addictive? Who do you believe the main culprit is? You will be amazed when you hear this, because I was when my daughter actually told me this. It is the cigarette companies. Those are the companies who tell you that. They even put it on the package. Now, why would they do that? Okay, I tell you why. Because when you decide to stop smoking and it gets tough, you try to look for reasons to start smoking again. And when you give in, you can simply say, well, come on. Everybody knows it's hard to stop smoking. You fell for the lie. Ask any smoker who stopped if it really was that hard. They will all say, nah, it was really not that hard. Now, of course, there are people who have absolutely nothing in their lives, right? Nobody around them. And the only thing they do and the only thing they have is smoking. That's the only vice they have. Yes, those people, it's very hard to stop, of course. But that's also because of other reasons. All that combined, makes it very hard for them to stop smoking. But smoking doesn't require a physical detox. Sorry to burst your bubble right there. Now, remember the snooze button I was talking about? As I said before, right now in this society, we hit that snooze button on all our vices. I have hundreds of times when I would wake up with a hangover and I would say to myself, today I'm not going to drink. And then it becomes 3 p.m. and boom, I would hit the snooze button and guess what? Yep, I started drinking again. But this way, you will never control it, ever. Not only that, you're getting weaker and weaker every time you hit that snooze button. Because now, hitting that snooze button also becomes normal, just like any other vice. Everything becomes normal. Even a killer will tell you that they probably threw up over the first victim. But once they're at victim number 5, well, it's normal. Why do you think most of them get caught? It's because it becomes normal to them and they start making mistakes. That's the only reason that they get caught. And of course, I'm talking about serial killers, because for them, it's an obsession. But for a hitman, of course, that's different, They do it for money. They have no emotions. Therefore, they're much harder to catch, because when they do get caught, well, they lose their jobs. So they make sure that they don't leave any traces behind them. Again, for them, it's not an emotional thing. It's just business. Okay, the next one. This one helped me a lot as well. The first person in the world you should never let down or lie to is you. Yourself. Yeah, I did this really well in fighting. I would tell myself, for instance, in the morning, today after a workout, I'm going to do 6 5-minute rounds on the bag. And boy, I better did it, because if I would not do it and I would be home, I would get anxious, couldn't stand myself, then I let myself down, and then around 10 p.m. at night, I would jump in the car, go to the gym, and I would do 12 rounds. I would punish myself doing a double, so I wouldn't do it anymore. So later in life, with all my vices that popped up, I realized, wait a minute, I always used to do that in fighting. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to use the same concept to clean up my life. Whatever I tell myself in the morning I'm going to do, or not to do, I better do what I said, because otherwise I would add a penalty to it. And please, trust me, tell yourself, when you do not do the things that you said you were going to do, tell yourself you are a giant sissy, you are weak. Because saying that to myself really helped me. So hopefully it's helping you as well. And this is hard for about maximum a month because your mind and body get used to this really fast. But once it's a new habit, now it's all about keeping that habit and not breaking the habit. Because as easy as it was to break the habit, that's how easy it is to start and fall back in your own routine. Now, we also try to find reasons as well. So let's say I told myself I was going to do 8 5-minute rounds today. Just that, right? If I would feel a little bit bad and I didn't want to do it, then I just started being honest to myself. Am I using this as an excuse to not train? And listen, when you know yourself really well, so you just be honest and admit, yeah, you're going to find out, yes, I'm trying to use this as an excuse. And boom, I would still train and do my 8 5-minute rounds. Now, if you feel a little bit out of the weather, but it's not that crazy bad, why not keep the habit? Go to the gym, do 8 light rounds. This way, you don't break the habit and you still do it. Plus, again, like I said before, every time you overcome a situation like that, you get mentally stronger as well. And this is the biggest thing ever. You can do this with everything. All these examples that I just gave from all these different vices, and those are just the tip of the iceberg, but you can do it to all these vices. Now, because we all have a bunch of vices, I would say start with one at a time. Pick the biggest one first. For me, that was alcohol, because I knew that was the gateway drug. I mean, the times I did drugs sober, I can count on one hand. It's always alcohol that blurs your vision and lets you make those mistakes. So I stopped the alcohol first, and then automatically, that took care of my drug problem as well. Oh, okay. And then I started working on other vices. Like, what, boss? Well, what about profanity? I was using profanity a lot, so I decided to stop doing that. Now, why, boss? Why would you do that? Why not? What is adding profanity going to do for you? Why do you do it? Is it really that necessary? For what? You can't explain things without throwing an F-bomb in every sentence? Listen, when you throw an F-bomb out there once a while, at least it holds its value. But some of these guys, come on, 3 in one sentence? You see, to me, that's an insecurity. You're trying to tell me that you're cool by doing that. But what's cool about it? Explain that to me. So, because I could not find any reason for it to be cool, I told myself, you know what? I'm just going to stop profanity. And I was using a lot of profanity. I was also insecure, and now I almost never use it anymore. Sometimes when I quote a movie or something. Am I offended when people do it? Of course not. We live in a free country. Do whatever you want to do. I'm just saying, in order to be heard, do you really need it? No, you don't. Otherwise, you're a pretty weak person, right? When you really believe that you have to add profanity in order to get heard. Now, we also like to come up with reasons why our vice is the hardest vice and the most difficult one to stop. Like with alcohol, for instance. All these hardcore alcoholics, they will say, I have the gene. It's too hard for me. Listen, I have a super addictive personality. If one is good, 5 will be better. That was me. So I wanted to say exactly what you just said. But truth is, I didn't have the willpower. It's all about willpower. Every alcoholic who stopped drinking, even the extreme ones, they all did it eventually with willpower. Sure, some had help and went to a detox center, but that's not the test. The real test is when you come out of there, and eventually it is willpower that will do it for you. So toughen up, or not, and see where that's going to take you. As long as you don't have loved ones around you who care about you, you can try that. Because otherwise, when you do have loved ones around you, well, here I go again. You are a selfish person who doesn't care about the feelings of your loved ones. Yep, again, that's hard to hear, right? Yeah, so you better get it in your head. It was really good for me to hear, actually. So, one vice at a time. Let's go over mine. You know, I used to take pills for cholesterol. I was taking statins as well. I was taking pills for blood pressure and for sleeping. All that crap. Then I was eating bad, and I decided to not work out anymore. So once I started implementing all these rules, cleaned up my life and tried to be healthy, body and mind, I also started working out again. And then I started eating clean. And right now, I can say that I take 0 medications. Weird, right? It is as if we are designed to fix ourselves. Ooh. And the only thing we need to do is to be good for our body and mind, and then your life will flourish, I'm telling you. Okay, so how are you going to stop drinking? Well, you're going to have to stop cold turkey. That's something you can't wean off. It's the same as with painkillers. That's another addiction that I had, OxyContin, and with other drugs as well. You know, cold turkey is always the best way, since when you just decide to drink 3 drinks a day, first of all, it's not going to do anything for you anymore. But you know as well as I do that if anything bad comes to you your way, like anything negative, you're going to use that in order to start drinking more again. And you know I'm right, because I was exactly like that. Now, how to stop scrolling online? Waste the time. If you do something and it doesn't make you smarter or mentally stronger, I say don't do it. You don't gain anything. Zero. Like, oh, I always wanted to learn Spanish. Well, if you are 4 hours a day scrolling online, you take 1 hour of those 4 hours, for 6 months, you will speak Spanish. Yeah, that might be hard to hear now, right? Because now you know you could have learned another language. Imagine using the entire 4 hours to learn a new skill. Sky's going to be the limit. But listen, we all need some time off. I understand that, you know, and sometimes you just need to do something mindless just to keep our mind relaxed. Then again, you know how I stop my ADD mind the best? It might surprise you. Sparring and fighting professionally. And why? Because once you spar or compete, the whole world stops. All the noise stops. There's peace. You have to focus, because otherwise you're going to get hit in the face, or in mixed martial arts, you're going to get submitted. Johan Hari talks about this in his book, Stolen Focus. Get that book. To stop your mind from all the noise around you, find something that is hard to attain, but is attainable. This is important, like rock climbing, for instance. No room for mistakes. Or juggling, right? You need to focus the whole time. You can't make a mistake, because if you do, well, it's going to fall down. Now, with the vice of scrolling online, you have to set limits. If you want to stop it, of course. If you normally do, let's say, 3 hours, you tell yourself, I'm going to do 2.5 hours today, and you set an alarm. And then don't be a sissy when the alarm goes off and you keep on going. No, you got to stop. And then every week you go 30 minutes less, until you give yourself an hour a day. But most of the time, when you start doing this, well, you're going to find out that you wasted a very big amount of time online, and you might stop entirely, because you know it's going to be much better for you. You know what really helped me with this also? Exodus 90. Exodus 90 is a program that you do in January. It's a Catholic program where you, for 90 days, you can't do a lot. I mean, you can eat only 3 meals a day. You have 2 fasting days. Then you have to work out every day. You can only take cold showers. You can't watch TV. You can't go online. You can't be on your phone. The only time you can use the phone or the internet is for your job. And once you start implementing doing that for 90 days, suddenly you realize, man, I wasted a lot of time, because now instead of watching a TV show, you start reading a book. And maybe you learn something. Maybe it's a book that teaches you something. You know, whatever it is. But that really helped me a lot. Now, once you have all these rules in place, your life is going to be so much better. Example, right? Right now, when I wake up at 3:30 to go to the airport, I always think when I walk at the airport, man, I'm actually feeling great. And I always think about the times that I walked around there, not that I didn't sleep, had a hangover from drugs and alcohol, like a freaking zombie. I would walk at the airport. Dude, I'm telling you, it's a gigantic difference right now. So I really hope that you're going to stop with that crap. Now, how do you stop getting angry online? Well, you're going to have to stop going online. The book that I just talked about, Stolen Focus, well, it also talks about this. Algorithms are specifically designed for you. They even know how many seconds you look at the picture. And based on how many seconds you look at a certain picture, they will feed you more and more of that same stuff. They want to keep you on the phone because it sells. Anger. If you look up anger, well, they're going to send you more hate stuff because, you know, that's what you want. They're feeding your pleasures. You're just being a sheep, and that is used for money. That's what you are. And if you know how many people resigned from building those algorithms because they knew they were killing the morals of people, dude, it's insane. They just couldn't live with themselves anymore. And by the way, the kids from those people, yeah, guess what? They're not allowed to go online because they know it pollutes them. Once you start seeing what vices you have, that's when you start building a plan to get off whatever vice is controlling you. So, what did it change in my life? Well, how do I start my day now? I wake up at 5:30 a.m. I don't even need an alarm clock anymore. The amount of things that I do before 8:30, which was the time I used to get up on, it's just insane. I just cleared 3 extra hours for myself and the Lord. So when you try to hide behind the excuse, I don't have the time, because that's what I used to say as well, simply make the time. But it's so hard. Yes, it is. And you don't need to do it. But if you don't want to do it, then stop complaining. All these people, oh, I'm this. You can fix it. You just simply have to do it. It's so crazy. And by the way, I already touched on this. Look at the screen time on your phone. How many hours are you on that thing mindlessly scrolling and gaining nothing that will be helpful or productive for you? Take 2 hours from that time. And why not spend it on yourself, or maybe even your loved ones? And then you and your loved ones, trust me, they're going to be so happy, because once you start doing that, life becomes much more enjoyable. And this is even better. I'm nothing special. Whatever I can do, trust me, you can do. And sure, we all have our quality sides to say. For me, it was fighting, right? And I like to invent things. But come on, man, this lifestyle, anybody in the world can do it. You just have to start with it, and you're going to have to be hard on yourself. That's the only thing. Toughen up is what I say. And listen, I've been a guy who have made the most mistakes in my life. I mean, I still make some. I was the idiot who did pretty much everything wrong. Meaning, I tell you what it means. I will never judge others, because the chance they do what I used to do, yeah, it's just very freaking high. So trust me, there will be no judging from boss. And just imagine when you have everything under control in your life, how badass would that be? It's very hard, but I realize now it is attainable. 3 years ago, I didn't think it was, but I just kept on working on it, and you got to stay with it. And eventually it will work. And I'm not saying don't drink, don't eat. I say use moderation. Yeah, moderation. That's another word that never was in my vocabulary. And also remember this one more time. Once you have built a new habit, please stick with the habit. Because as I mentioned before now, it is boring. I know that. But once you start breaking the habit, that becomes normal again. And boom, you're going to be back to the place where you started with in the first place. As for now, it's very simple. Man up. Start getting control of your life. Don't say next week. No, when you want to sign up for a gym, do it now. 0 excuses. And remember, one vice at a time. Don't try to fix everything at the same time. It will not work. How do you know that, boss? Because I tried and it's not working. And one last time, I'm not sitting here saying that I have everything under control. But boy, I gotta tell you, I cleaned up 80% of my life, and I'm just feeling really good. And because I feel really good, I want you to feel good as well. And don't sugarcoat things. We live in a society right now where everything is okay. It's okay to take pills for your mind. It's not okay. It's okay to eat whatever you want. No, it's not okay. Temperance, that's okay. And then you can do it. Now, this is the biggest kicker. Where can you find all these principles I was just talking about? It's gonna blow you away. Atheists, close your ears, because that's right. It's the Bible, guys. All these principles you can find in the Bible. Now, last thing. I'm going to leave you with an osu. I have done this more in videos, and for the people who watch this for the very first time, I explain what it means. It's a karate greeting. Osu. It's not os. That's what a lot of people say, O-S-S. It's not. It's O-S-U. It actually comes from 2 Japanese words. Oshi, which means push, and shinobu, which means endure. To push and to endure. And if you want to strive for excellence, right? If you want to stop a vice, well, there's going to be some times that you're going to have to push and endure. So Godspeed, everybody. Osu. When you have 2 fighters facing each other and they're equally skilled, the fighter with the most stamina is probably going to win the match. If you have 2 teams facing each other, no matter what sport it is, equally skilled, the team with the best stamina is probably going to win the match. Now, why is that? Because they can keep on pushing. Now, your lungs don't do anything by themselves. They're just two bags. There's not a single muscle in your lungs. Your breathing muscles are responsible for opening up your lungs. And by the way, you have 11 pounds of breathing muscles. It's actually the number one priority in your body. I mean, 3-4 minutes without it, and you might be dead. Now, when you are gassing in an athletic event, you know what's happening? That's your breathing muscles stealing blood. Yes, that's a medical term, blood stealing. They're stealing blood from your limbs to support themselves so they can keep you alive, since it's the number one priority in your body. And now you might ask, wait a minute, so now why don't I work out those 11 pounds of breathing muscles? Oh yes, you asked the right question. That is what the O2 trainer does. The O2 trainer is an inspiratory muscle trainer, which works out your diaphragm and your intercostal muscles, which are your 11 pounds of breathing muscles, so you can expand your chest maximally, so fill up your lungs maximally. If you want to know more about breathing, go to o2trainer.com. And if you want to know everything about breathing, go to breathingforwarriors.com. Dr. Belisa Vranic, a world-renowned breathing expert, and myself, we shot a 3-hour course, and we go into every little detail that you need to know about breathing. Godspeed, and breathe on.